faces up, pump fakes, back into the post for the game. So before we play our first game of the season, let's talk about what the end goal of this season is. And that goal is to suck and end up with a top tier pick. Right now we're projected to get the first pick, and the Grizzlies, whose pick we have, is projected to be the 5th, and it's top 5 protected. So let's just say we luck out and we get the first pick and the 6th pick, hoping that Memphis loses out in the lottery. The 3 positions I think we will have down packed on this roster are small forward, center, and point guard. Though I never see him becoming a star, I think Devonte Graham will become a starting caliber point guard, and this draft class really doesn't have the best point guard options anyways. And for center, same kind of thing. Nerlens Noel won't be a star, but a good starter who plays his role, which is rebounding and rim protection. So we need a 2 guard, because I envision Luke Kennard as being our future 6th man, and we also need a power forward. I don't think I need to tell you that Davis Bertans isn't going to be the long-term starter. Let's start with the 2 spot. The 3 prospects that I'm looking at are RJ Barrett, Cameron Reddish, and Romeo Langford. Starting with Reddish, he has the guard skills, he can play on and off ball, he's a very good ball handler, knowing how to stop and go at an elite level. He's a solid shooter and a fantastic athlete. The only real concern with his game is that he sometimes coasts, doesn't seem like he cares, and sometimes settles for outside shots when he has mismatches and can really get a better look. For RJ Barrett, it's a lot of the same, though he is a little shorter at just 6'6", but he's equally as athletic and strong. But he isn't as good of a playmaker, and his jumper isn't very consistent, which I'm not personally a fan of. Now for the guy that I really like, Romeo Langford. Of the 3, he's definitely the best shooter. Reddish is an average to slightly above average shooter. Barrett is very inconsistent as a shooter, but there is no question about Langford's shooting ability. He also is the smoothest scorer of the 3, but he's not an above average athlete, so there is that. He's crafty, knows how to create his own shot, but most importantly, he is the best of the 3 at creating for others. And really, the main reasons that I think that Langford is the guy is that 1, he has a really awesome name, I feel like that matters, and 2, he has the best fit on the roster, and especially the best fit with Jason Tatum. At his peak, I expect Tatum to be a 28-point scorer, getting most of his points in the post or in the mid-range. For Langford, I'd say 23 points and 8 assists is his peak, getting most of his points off of drives and 3-pointers. So really, the 2 would fit perfectly together, while Reddish and Barrett, who are questionable as shooters, would have some serious growing pains and the mix wouldn't be that great. Also, Langford would be the best off-ball player of the 3 and be more comfortable playing an off-ball role when Tatum is in the post or isolating himself. Another reason I think Langford is the guy is because he's a good defender. Physically, he is about the average size of a 2 guard, and he's not that athletic as I said, but he puts up the effort and then some. Reddish is known for coasting, which isn't great for defense. Barrett is actually a good defender, but his jumper is worse than Reddish, so there's that concern that holds me back on him. Basically, Langford is a playmaking 2 guard that is a knockdown shooter. Reddish and Barrett are superior athletes, but their games cater better to a different team. As for the power forward spot, the only real option would be Zion Williamson, although I'm not that interested in him as a prospect. And overall, I think I'm just going to trade that number 6 overall pick. I do have a trade idea in the long term, and we'll see if that comes to fruition, but until then, enjoy our first game of the season that is ironically up against the Anthony Davis-led Boston Celtics. Starting off the game in the pick and roll with Jason Tatum, trying to force a mismatch on Kyrie Irving, which is something we're going to be doing a lot. It seems like lately a lot of teams have been targeting players on defense, trying to force them to go up against a mismatch. The Houston Rockets have been doing that a lot recently against Stephen Curry, trying to get James Harden on him. And we're just going to do that once again, getting Tatum on Kyrie Irving, and that's just an easy bucket because Kyrie can't even really defend players his own size, so a 6'8" strong wing is going to score on him every time. Gets the transition 3-pointer to go with the green release, having 7 of our 9 points early, really showing off that star potential that I've been looking for. Luke Kennard with the free throw line pull-up on the break, which is not the greatest shot in the world, but he does get it to go. Tatum misses the fadeaway, and Al Horford pulls down the rebound. And Kyrie Irving with his signature crazy layup that he gets anytime that he wants. And then Luke Kennard going inside, pulls it back to the three-point line, takes a really contested shot, but he gets it to go. Kyrie getting cooked early in this game by Tatum and then Kennard. And then Tatum once again pulls up. I start to realize that this is going a little bit too well for me, like all of my shots are going in. Turns out I was playing on Pro. I normally play on Superstar. Hall of Fame's a little too intense for me. I take this three out of the corner with Jared Vanderbilt, and it goes in perfectly, and he's not a great shooter, so the fact that that went in, I was like, I gotta check these sliders, and it turns out, yeah, I was on Pro. So I change it back. Frank Jackson with the behind-the-back pass to Justin Patton, who hits the mid-range jumper. And then back at the start of the second quarter, Tatum with the step-back jumper. This is why he can be a superstar player, because he makes shots like that. But unfortunately, after that make, this is when Boston decides to go on their run. Jaylen Brown steals it from Luke Kennard, who needs to improve his ball handling, and he gets the dunk. Jason Tatum is going to score this over Terry Rozier, but after that, it's Kyrie Irving with the pull-up mid-range, Kyrie Irving with the off-ball three-pointer, Seth Curry taking it out to the three-point line and getting it to go, and then Jaylen Brown with the shot clock running down just pulls up in the face of Glenn Robinson III. So Boston has now taken the lead, but Jared Vanderbilt isolating on Anthony Davis of all people. I'm just lucky that one, the travel wasn't called because he totally moved his feet too much, and two, that Anthony Davis decided to go for a charge out of nowhere. And then Anthony Davis, this is actually his first bucket against his former team. This is one of the problems I have always had with 2K, is that sometimes the stars just aren't as aggressive as they should be as Noel throws down that and one slam. Like, there'll be a game where you get absolutely killed by a role player, and then a star player scores like 6 points, which is what Anthony Davis did in this game. Davis Bertans missing the three out of the corner, and JaVale McGee with the rebound. Hayward with the long two pull-up, doesn't get it to go. Devontae Graham pulls down the rebound, and then Nerlens Noel throwing it down reverse on the break. Tatum missing the fadeaway, but Noel's right there for the rebound. He was pulling down offensive rebounds a lot in this game, which really was key for us. And then Hayward with the mid-range pull-up gets that one to go. And this is one of the advantages of having a left-handed player, is going left. They can use their offhand and keep the ball away from their defender. And Justin Patton, this is what I envisioned for our bench, which is Jared Vanderbilt running pick and pops with Patton, because Patton's a very good mid-range shooter, and Vanderbilt's a very good passer. Frank Jackson out of the corner gets the catch and shoot from Justin Patton, gets that to go. Now just a three-point lead by Boston, and Patton down low with the pass from Jared Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt really filling in that Lamar Odom type role that I've been looking for. Kyrie cutting back door gets the pass, but Jason Tatum with the fadeaway with the touch over the mismatch on Kyrie once again. But Kyrie fires right back with a three-pointer of his own, making it a 7-point game. And Jason Tatum crossing over the ankle breaker king himself, which is, I always find very ironic when a guy who's really good at crossovers gets crossed. Tatum with the deep fadeaway mid-range jumper. This is the reason that I think he can be a superstar. I mentioned it earlier. He makes the tough shots. He just made a very clutch shot. Horford does not come up clutch right there, missing the three-pointer, and then Nerlens Noel to Luke Kennard on the break with the catch-and-shoot triple, tying it up at 66 all. Gordon Hayward missing the catch-and-shoot mid-range jumper, which is not something you see very much in the NBA anymore. But Jason Tatum finds Devontae Graham. I was passing it to him for the three-pointer, but he cut inside as soon as I chose to pass. But he gets 3 points the old-fashioned way, getting the really nifty finish over Kyrie Irving. And then with the free throw, he completes the three-point play, giving us a 3-point lead. But Anthony Davis with his second bucket of the game, tied once again at 71 apiece. The mismatch being forced once again. In real life, the defense would adjust to this, but this is 2K, so nothing in that game is that advanced. But I take not the greatest shot considering the mismatch I had with the step-back jumper. Didn't get it to go. But Kyrie Irving bringing down the shot clock, trying to get a good look, tries to pass it to Gordon Hayward on the cut, but it does not work. So going for the final shot of the game, you already know who we're giving it to. So Luke Kennard with the ball. Jason Tatum in the post on Gordon Hayward. Gets it from Kennard. Faces up, pump fakes, back into the post for the game. Jason Tatum with the clutch shot to win the game in the very first game of the season against his former team. Fantastic move, fantastic bucket, and we win against Anthony Davis's Celtics. Jason Tatum had an amazing debut as a New Orleans Pelican with nearly 30 points. Luke Kennard also was really good with 10 points, and Nerlens Noel was grabbing some rebounds in this game with 12, many of them offensive. Vanderbilt led the bench well, was a really surprisingly good scorer for us, and Justin Patton was also getting buckets off of the bench. Subscribe for more MyGM, and cue the outro music.
I dare you play your cards, boy, you bet I'm a trendsetter too. Fire when the strobe hits you.
That's it, Brian? Yes.